Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck.
Thanks.
I've been in the danger zone.
He got a back.
Minus 5 stars.
Mango.
Huh? Yeah, we got for you.
Jeff Harvey.
How much is a skyway?
Play.
Play 21.
Fucking.
Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another brand new special edition of Am I Still on the Air? You know what it is, Am I Still on the Air? The spin-off show of Am I on the Air, where we take one particular topic and we break it down, we talk about it. And this special edition, I'm very excited to do, because just this couple days ago, we had the mid-season finales of Flash, Arrow, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I gotta say, all three shows absolutely killed it. I mean, stuff that was on the level of just a regular season finale, let alone a mid-season finale with a show coming back in like a month. So they gave us such great stuff that I was so pumped after watching these 3 episodes. I was like, I gotta do something about this. And at first, I was going to do a little video thing because I've been trying to get into the video side, and I was like, I'm going to do a little special video editorial on this and put it up on the YouTube channel. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what, this is actually prime to get one of my boys on, and we can talk about it and have a better rapport as we kind of dive into some theories and speculation for the rest of the season. So I figured this would be a good way to bring in a new Am I Still on the Air? So tonight's episode is called Agents of Flarrow, and basically bringing everything together here: Flash, Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we're going to break down the mid-season finales for all 3 episodes, what we liked, what we maybe didn't like, and where do we think it's going. Joined with me today is Mr. Peeps from the People's Forum. We got a little one-on-one thing going tonight. We're going to have Mr. Friggins on, but he just went to a Phoenix Comic-Con, and he was on at the beginning of this call, and then he was like, I just can't do it. And
he tried, but no, well.
Yeah, so A for effort, but he had to go. And we were going to get Geeky Pat on tonight, too, but he hadn't seen Arrow yet, and so he kind of had to take the sacrifice on this episode
and out
as
of
well.
all of them not to see, I mean,
I know.
That's the one.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But I'm happy to know that Peeps saw them all. So I said, all right, cool, let's get on, and me and you will just run it down. So, Peeps, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. And I appreciate it, especially for this episode. I mean, I've been such a fan of all 3 of these. And like you said, man, all 3 of them just completely blew me away. So I'm glad you're hosting something like this so I can get this off my chest because, man, I've been holding it in for a while.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's been killing me that I haven't done anything yet because I wanted to do something right after I saw Arrow because that was, of course, the last one that happened. But yeah, man, I'll tell you, I watched Flash and I was just like, holy shit. And then right after I watched Flash, I jumped immediately into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then I was like, holy shit. and then that night was Arrow, and then Arrow finished and I was like, holy shit, these 3 shows.
My jaw was dropped. And it's funny, I saw it in that same exact order as you, and I could not believe what I had seen. It was so good.
So good, man. We usually wouldn't dedicate an entire Am I Still on the Air just to some TV shows.
3 random TV shows, yeah.
It's very unique. We usually talk movies or something, really breaking in the movie world. And, this is the first time, to doing TV shows. But, these are the shows right here. For me, these 3 are my go-tos of the week. And I had decent expectations, I guess, but nowhere near did I think I would get anything like these 3 episodes ended up giving me. So like I said, we're going to dive into it. Once again, my name is DONMEGA. I'm your host, and me and Peeps, we're going to break it down. So we'll start, I guess we'll kind of go in order as they aired. So we'll start with Arrow. Oh, no, sorry, Flash.
No.
Flash. And, so Flash, which I gotta say, out of the three, if I had to pick one right now, Flash is my jam. This show has really. I knew I'd be excited for it, but nowhere ever did I think like this show was gonna like steal the thunder of like Arrow or some of these other things. Because I just think Flash has been killing it. Every episode has been fantastic. Um, Grant Gustin, who plays Flash, I remember when he first popped up on Arrow last season in the Barry Allen episode before his powers, and I was like, this fucking kid, like what's he gonna bring to this? And I don't know, I wasn't too stoked on the casting of him, but man,
Really?
was I wrong. Oh yeah, dude, when they casted him and like you read kind of his little biography, and it's like, oh, he's coming from Glee. I'm like, they got this little Glee kid to be Flash. Like, this is
Nice.
stupid.
Right.
I was pissed. But right, honestly, from that first episode last season of him coming on Arrow, I was like, okay, this dude's pretty good. And then now that Flash has its own series, and with every week that goes by, he's just so much more comfortable in the suit and comfortable in the role. And I love all the characters in this show.
And
It
you
just.
really see him grow, you know.
Hmm.
It's I mean, from Arrow, like he Arrow, his character changed in a different way. You know, he went from a murderer to, who he is today. But in Flash, like, you really see how he just, I'm a guy that's really fast, to, meeting up with Arrow, meeting up with Oliver, and him telling him, you really need to, case the um your surroundings, and you're not, just because you're fast, you're not as, hardcore as you think you are, and it's stuck him with two arrows in his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's, like, him growing as a character, and as a superhero. I'm not too familiar with Flash, so I mean, I can't say, oh, they're going away from, how Barry Allen really is in the comics. I have no idea. I don't really read DC all that much, but just based off from what I've seen, I'm really liking it, and to see what and who he grows into, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and they have been killing it on this show. Like I said, I mean, and I don't know if it's just because of the fact that Flash has all the super powered people, and Arrow tries to stay so grounded even though they're like a city over and like no
Right.
metahumans want to cross over to another town for some
Yeah,
reason.
that little blast wave, only it stopped right before,
Yeah,
Star
it
City or
stopped at the
Starling,
border.
whatever.
Yeah, like, and to me that just seems so silly. Because if I was a metahuman, especially a villain metahuman, I would be crossing over into other towns and getting the hell out of Central City. But like I said, this show has just been killing it. This is the show. If I had to pick one right now, not just out of these three, but just one in general, like what's my one show out of the week that I just can't wait to see, it's Flash right now, hands down. And every week, like we kind of get like that creepy kind of ending where we see something new with Dr. Wells, or like we get some kind of crazy insight to the next episode, and they just keep leaving us hanging. And
Exactly. Even if the episode is a little light, I know I still have that last 2 minutes to look forward to.
yeah, it's awesome, And then they, of course, gave us such a great present. Last was it just last week or the week before when they did the crossover episodes? It was so awesome. I mean, to have the Flash versus Arrow episode, and then to have the Brave and the Bold episode the very next night, and see Flash and Arrow, just kind of what Peeps was just alluding to, with like how their styles are so different and everything. It's just these showrunners that are running these two shows are so great, and I love how the universes are connected. Excuse me, and it makes me so excited at the possibilities of that new Supergirl show coming, being in this world. Because I want to see more
Exactly.
stuff like that, man. Because after those crossover episodes, I was like, I want this every week. I want more Flarrow. I need more Flarrow.
Exactly.
These guys are so good as a team that I want more team up episodes, man. And I think even the showrunner said, like, man, this was supposed to be like a one and done kind of thing, but after like it was like the highest rated episodes of like both shows for like the week, and they were like, I think we might have to do this like a couple times a year, because they know what's up.
I mean, well, it's well deserved. I mean, as I mean, at my last episode of the People's Forum, my boy Friggins and I, we were pretty much talking about this, and yeah, I mean, the chemistry between the two, and the two different cities. That they're two completely different cities, and they even make a comment, like, oh, this place is a lot darker than ours, and it's because whenever you're in Oliver City, it's always nighttime. It seems it's like Gotham, and
Exactly.
and then you see Felicity like in I don't know Arrow City, Central City, I guess. And, it's like weird seeing her in the middle of the day. It's like, oh wow, that's kind of awkward, but. And then Diggle's like reaction, I guess, to seeing Flash for the first time. It was
It's
classic.
great.
It was those two. Those are really really good. Those blew my mind.
Yeah, so great episodes. The season's been killing it. So okay, so now we're at the mid-season finale, and they give us this episode. I think it was called "The Man in the Yellow Suit," and it was like we know they've been teasing Reverse Flash like the whole season. We know that it's oh his mom was killed by a yellow blur, and he's been looking for this guy all along. So we finally get him, right, and like Reverse Flash is pretty fucking badass. Like in the show, like he's like whooping Barry's ass the entire time. Like he's like vibrating like crazy, so you can't ever get a good look at him. But he
No,
just
yeah.
looks awesome. He's got the red glowing eyes, and basically like Barry's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "You know who I am. We've been at this for a long time." And you're just like, oh my god, like what's going on?" And
Exactly.
he's like, "And I'll show you who I am if you can catch me." And then they're like chasing each other, and they go into that arena and like go blast on like head on head, and you just see the red blur and the yellow blur just going at it, and it was just so awesome. And then basically this thing comes in about he's going around and he's stealing these things, and he's gonna steal this like Techion like thing, and so they come up with this plan to create like this force field and like trap him, and they do. And this, maybe you can answer this for me, but how the fuck did he even get out of the force field to grab Wells?
My bad. From what I got out of it, I think he made it seem like the force field was weakening, and at that moment it was like a split second. I'm pretty sure a moment where the shield had weakened. He was able to go out and grab him and then bring him back in. I mean, I kind of said that same moment, but they were saying, "Oh no, it's fluctuating, it's weakening." So that's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I just remember when he ran out of it and grabbed Wells and brought him back into it and started beating him up. I was like, how the hell did he just get out of the
I was
shield?
like, what the
Like
fuck? Yeah, exactly.
just to grab him,
Yeah, and
So
then went
like,
back into the shield. Like
yeah, then he
what?
went back into the shield. He's beating the hell out of Wells. So of course they got to shut the shield down. And as soon as they do, he steals the Techion thing and takes off. Not before he beats up all the cops except for Eddie, who he goes face to face with, and then takes
For a
off.
second, and then
Yeah,
bounces.
and
Yeah.
then bounces, and then later on, Eddie's telling Joe, why didn't he kill me? And it's like,
Yep.
I wonder why. But there was just so many cool little moments there. We had Barry finally telling Iris that he loved her, which has been something that's obviously been on his mind since he was a little kid. So he finally admits that. And of course, we fast forward to the very end of the episode, and we see Dr. Wells go into his little mystery room that we've seen so many times. But in this time, he pulls out a flash ring first and foremost, which was like, whoa, he's got a flash
Yeah.
ring, right? So I'm thinking,
I'm
that's
thinking,
it.
no, he stole it. No, he stole it. That's what happened.
Well, see, I'm not thinking he stole it, but I'm like, okay, this proves he's Barry from the future. Because technically only Flashes have that ring. So I'm
Ah.
like, oh, he's Barry from the future. But then he puts the ring into the wall, and the wall opens up, and there's a mannequin there, and he sticks the ring into the mannequin like hook up, and then the yellow suit pops up. Boom! And uh, Wells puts the tachyon device onto the suit, which starts vibrating the suit. And then you hear Dr. Wells say "Merry Christmas" in his little flash voice.
Yeah.
So it leaves. It was one of those endings where it was like, "Holy shit!" But to me, this is where the speculation starts to play,
Yeah.
because number one, it's so obvious, I feel, that he's not the Reverse Flash, because it's just, why would they just give that away on a mid-season finale?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like the producers and everybody did that, so everybody's like, oh my god, and then thrown off from what the true obvious twist is that we'll get to in the second half of the season. Um, I don't.
I'm 100% with you. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
no.
I don't think it's Wells. First of all, did Wells was going that fast that he was able to throw himself into the thing and beat himself up? Like, no, I don't think so.
Right? He was able to be inside the force field and out. Like,
Exactly, yeah. Like he was just traveling through time because he's so fast. Like I don't care what, and I've heard a lot of people speculate that, and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
no,
There,
no,
there's no
no,
way.
no. No, but that's interesting that you said, you think he's Barry from the future. I didn't even think about that, and that could be a possibility because it
Well,
looks like him.
I don't, I don't know. That's one of the That's what I've been speculating the whole season up till now. I don't think that that's the case anymore.
Okay.
I was thinking that when he pulled out the Flash ring, because for those of you that do know the comic book, the Flash ring is what all the Flashes have, and actually their suit comes out of it. Like the suit shoots out of the ring, and they run into it, and it's on
Hmm.
them all super quick. So it's like that ring is only supposed to be for Flashes. So that's one big mystery question as to why the hell does Dr. Wells have a Flash ring. But once again, we're dealing with now a TV version, of what they decide they want this continuity to be. So just because the Flash ring is what it is in the comics doesn't mean that that's what it's going to be in the TV show.
Right.
So we have to kind of keep that in mind. But I feel like it's too obvious that they want us to think it's Wells, so I don't think it's Wells based off that fact alone. Um, Not to say that he can't be another version of the Reverse Flash, because they do make it kind of feel like there's multiple versions of this Reverse Flash, that the one we're seeing now might not necessarily be the one that killed Barry's mom.
Right.
That, and then Cisco even talked about how, oh, there was two blurs that night. If you noticed, the Reverse Flash puts off yellow electricity, and the regular Flash puts off red electricity. So there was a red and yellow lightning that night. So so now what? Barry was there trying to stop Reverse
Exactly. See,
Flash.
that's what I was going to bring up. And so yeah, but I mean that's it exactly. So is there like multiple timeline versions of themselves here? Like
I
it
don't.
raises a lot of questions, but I'm with you. Like you said, I definitely don't think Wells is the Reverse Flash. He obviously has something to do with the Flashes. Is why he's so um how he freaked out when Flash, didn't exist in the future after that
Right.
one guy took his power, and you would that kind of makes me think. And again, I don't know much about Flash, but I know Reverse Flash needs Flash. They're like a yin and yang. One can't exist without the other.
Yeah.
That's why he killed his mother in the first place, so that Flash would be created. Um, so I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense for Wells to kind of want to keep that continuity going, but that whole scene with both of them being there at the same time, and I, I don't know, man. It's too many questions. I definitely don't think Wells is the Reverse Flash, but I don't know. He could be, you know, Uncle Flash or something like that. Maybe I don't know from the future. Eh,
Exactly. Like, I mean, they could be bloodlines from later on.
and
There's
those
so
of you
many
that
possibilities.
aren't aware, like Flash, I think he runs so fast he can literally run to the past and or run to the future. He can you know travel through timelines. Once he reaches his ultimate speed. And so that, I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. If you guys are like confused about like, what do you mean time travel? They got time
Yeah.
machines? No, it's it's feet. They got good Jordans, and the Jordans help them run to the past. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely time travel. There's a time travel element, which kind of goes back to the pilot episode with when they first showed Wells seeing the newspaper that said, the Flash had disappeared in 2024 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's because he ended up time traveling because he went so quick, and
Yeah.
he disappeared from the current timeline. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a lot to play there with it. So um, I'm gonna give you my speculation here.
Uh-oh.
So here is my breakdown of what I feel is where we're leading. Um, I truly, solemnly feel that Reverse Flash is Eddie, hands down. It is Eddie, but it's Eddie from the future. It's
Okay.
not the Eddie that we know of, Iris's boyfriend, the guy we see right now. It's not him. It's a future version of himself that has, basically gone to the dark side. you know,
Hmm.
um, if you follow a lot of, I mean, first of all, with the comics, I mean, it's very open why we would be thinking him because Reverse Flash in the comics, his name is like Eobird Thawne or whatever, and in the show it's Eddie Thawne. So he's
Yeah.
got the exact same last name. So he's some version of Reverse Flash, whether he's a relative or whatever they end up being. I feel it's him, and I think that this all kind of started with the episode where Barry turned kind of evil and he pulled Eddie out of the car and started beating him up because he was
Yeah.
pissed about Iris, and he was
Yep.
like, "Leave her alone," blah 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 blah. Like, and then because it was after that Eddie went to the chief of police and said, "I want the task force. I want the task force. I want to catch this dude. It's not cool that this guy's running around town." So like you could see it started there, and then this hatred started for the Flash character, and then
Plus, if he ends up taking Iris, like obviously there'd be.
exactly, and that is my next point, which is, like I said, Barry told Iris how he feels, and once again, for those of you, spoiler alert, that follow the comic books, Barry marries Iris in the comics. So Iris belongs with Barry, and at some point, he's probably going to ask her to marry him, and she's going to say, "No, I can't, because I'm supposed to be with Barry,"
Yeah.
and she's going to leave him, and that's going to be the next phase to really push Eddie towards that dark side because he already hates Flash and he's already kind of going to be heading down that path. If he because I know in the comics he duplicates Barry's accident or whatever, and that's how he gets the powers. But if it's the suit like Dr. Wells had, it looked to me like he was charging the suit up. Like not that like anybody could step into that suit and have those flash powers
Like he
because
was getting it ready for something.
the suit had a charge to it. Like he was
Okay.
charging it with that Techion device, like to make it vibrate and make it all fast. Like so it's not just um, that maybe he can't duplicate the power, but we create a suit that does have the powers, and it could be with the help of Wells because Wells is he's the one that's obviously monitoring all of this, and he's the one that keeps pushing Barry to go faster and try harder and all this stuff, so he can make a better suit. But here's where my big speculation comes into play. Besides Eddie, because I feel Eddie's a pretty obvious choice of who Reverse Flash could truly be in the comics. And I just recently found out about this, but after that episode, I started doing some digging because I was like, I need to figure out some answers here.
Okay.
And I came across a character in the comics named Hunter Zolomon, and I believe that Dr. Wells is Hunter Zolomon. Now, Hunter Zolomon in the comics is more in line with the Wally West version of Flash, not the Barry Allen version. But once again, this is a TV version. They can pick and pull from whatever they want to. And everything seems to fall to me as this Hunter Zolomon character. Hunter Zolomon's in a wheelchair. He poses to be Wally's friend and to really push Wally to be the best Flash there is. He puts on a Reverse Flash outfit and basically taunts Wally West, and he you know pushes him, like, because basically he knows that the number one villain is Reverse Flash, so he basically taunts him with that suit and everything, but it's his friend under the hood that's just using it to as a motivation tool. He's not trying to be a
Mm.
villain. He's just putting it on to be like, I'm gonna, because you could tell with Wells. Wells has said before, like, I need Barry Allen alive. We need the Flash. I need to protect him. All this stuff. So it's like I don't truly feel that Dr. Wells is an evil guy or that he's a straight up villain, but I feel like he might have some other motives, and that motive might be to make sure that Flash is the best Flash that he possibly can be. He's always pushing his boundaries, so, and that's what this Hunter Zolomon character did. And so I implore you to do a little Google search and look this guy up and tell me that you don't think that that theory is probably one of the strongest ones that is out there. Um, it seems very very open to me. When watched that Flash episode, actually Geeky Pat was with me. He came over to my house and I was already halfway through the episode and he watched it with me, and we started speculating afterwards, and then I threw that out at him and he was like, "Holy shit. I think you're right." Because same thing. He never, in his mind, he never thought of Hunter Zolomon because it's so associated with the Wally West version of Flash and not the Barry Allen one. But like I said, in this world, just because one character's with one version, it doesn't mean that the TV people can't pick and choose whatever they want to do.
Exactly.
Maybe his name doesn't even ever come out to be Hunter Zolomon, but they could be using that Hunter Zolomon character as a basis for
Right.
what they want to do. So,
Oh, no, that
um,
makes sense.
but yeah, if you take when you get a chance, Google this dude, look up some of the images. You'll even see an image of Hunter Zolomon pulling the hood back in the Reverse Flash outfit, and the Flash being like, "What? Like you were my friend. How could it be you?" And he's like, "I needed you to be the best hero you could be." And there's this full breakdown. There's actually a quote out there, and I wish I would have saved it because I found the quote and I read it to Kiki Pat that same day too, because the quote was like spot on. If you just replaced Wally West with Barry Allen, it was like basically like, my name is Hunter Zolomon and you know, I'm your friend and I'm, your mentor and but basically I am now the Reverse Flash to make you who you need to be and become the better hero. I'm all for, making Barry Allen the best and all this stuff like what, but the way that this quote came about, I was just like, "Oh my God, this is so Dr.
Dude,
Wells."
you got it spot on. I'm looking at it right now, and it says right here, Hunter was severely injured in an attack by Gorilla Grodd, which left him paralyzed from the waist down. Like, bam. Like, seriously. And that is that Hunter Zolomon guy. So I think you got it, like, dead on.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense. And that's a way they can bring in a character. Oh, see, I just Googled Hunter Zolomon. One of the first things that pops up is Hunter Zolomon Harrison Wells.
Nice.
um, is Harrison Wells Professor Zoom? Um, yeah, or Hunter Zolomon. So now see, when I first was going through all this stuff, there was no connection, and now there's a bunch of articles saying
See.
that
No, I'm definitely with you on that one. I don't know. That's very interesting, and I wonder if they're even going to go with the um, other Flash, like the Wally, or if they're even going to touch on it, or if they're even going to add him into the show. I guess he might need his own arsenal or his own little sidekick. Who knows? But
and if you look at the way the Reverse Flash looks in the Hunter Zolomon version, he's got the red eyes.
yeah,
That's the
yep.
only version that has the red eyes.
But like, who was that running around? Like, was that Hunter Zolomon or was that the? Because like, oh man, I'm like so confused. Because Wells had the device at the end, at the whole end of the show, he had the device, but that other Flash is the one who stole the device. So WTF? I don't know. Damn it, Don.
Yeah, this article says Harrison Wells has most of the characteristics of Hunter Zolomon. Zolomon was crippled and paralyzed due to an attack by Gorilla Grodd.
I mean, one of the things I like mostly about this episode too, while you're looking
Yeah,
that up, is it's just the emotional factor that they kind of added to it. I mean, it was such a sad episode. It seemed. I mean, we call her we call her Black Laurel because my fiance thinks she looks just like Laurel from Arrow, and I don't
no.
think
Who,
so, but
Iris?
yeah, Iris.
No, not at all.
But I mean, it just just him revealing his feelings to her, and then him talking to his dad. I mean, he is such a good actor, and then even the Caitlin, like she had a lot of emotional issues, or with this episode, with her finding out that her loved one is still alive, but doesn't he's not actually the same person, kind of. And I don't know, it was such a there's so many different emotions, going on in this episode, to go along with all the confusion. So it's very emotional to me. I don't know. Oh, dude.
So what when it was done and you saw the yellow suit, what were your speculations?
So I exactly what I'm kind of saying now. Like I was constantly contradicting myself. I was saying first, I've been saying for the longest time, Wells is not Reverse Flash. Like, no, it's not him. No, it's not him. It just wouldn't make any kind of sense. Um, and then then like you said, then the end of the episode hits. You see the yellow suit. He puts the little tachyon device on the suit, and then he speaks, and he sounds exactly the way the yellow Flash sounded, when he was in that chamber or whatever. But I, I honestly, I have nothing. I have nothing to back up my theory. I just don't see why they would have him as the Reverse Flash. How can he be at two places at the exact same time? It wouldn't make sense. And there's a lot of things that happen too. Like I don't know if you remember that episode where I don't know, Electro, I can't remember his name, but he was about to zap Dr. Wells, and
Yeah.
like a split second before he did, Flash grabbed him. And I was thinking, like, if he was any kind of Reverse Flash or anything, I think he would have kind of dodged, or you would have saw something at that moment. I mean,
Right.
maybe he saw
But like I
Barry
said,
coming,
what if
but
he doesn't have the powers and it's the suit. The suit is what has the powers.
yeah, exactly. And now that he has, the device, he can,
Right. It makes the suit faster.
he'll be able to use it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just at this point, when it comes to Flash, I'm just like I'm just gonna wait and see. I can't speculate. I don't know enough about the character, and then come to find out from my boy Friggins, we have even more surprises possibly coming. But I don't really consider this a spoiler, but um, in the comics, Cisco and Caitlin are actually they actually have superpowers. Um, and I don't know if they're going to add it into the show. As you said, it's a TV show. It's completely different. It's separate from the comics, so they could go this route if they want, or they can just forget it altogether. But Cisco's character, he has like some kind of funky vibration powers, and I guess he's made a couple jokes about that, throughout the season. And even Caitlin, her character, I think her name was like Killer Frost or something.
Hmm.
And she's even made some comments about her and her boyfriend. Like, oh, like he's like fire and I'm like ice, and it's crazy. You find out that he becomes this character Firestorm. So does she become Ice Queen Voodoo Lady? I mean, I have no idea, but I don't know. It's and then Gorilla Grodd, like we've talked about that before. Like I'm so excited to see if he ends up pop or when he pops up. I mean they can't be teasing us with it so much, all this
Yeah.
time, and not give us anything. Um, I don't know, man. I will disagree with you though. I mean, out of the three, Flash is probably my least um excited to watch every week, and that's not to take away from the show. I love it. I probably like it more than I definitely like it more than any of the other TV shows out there. But out of the three, Flash is on my bottom. I would say
Wow.
it's probably Agents of Shield, Arrow, and then Flash.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
But
Yeah, I'm loving
there's just
Flash.
so many things they can do with it. These metahumans and
Yeah.
ah,
So here's so I was talking about that quote. I found it. Um so it says that Hunter Zolomon was somebody who fancied himself as a friend and an aide to the Flash. Now, like I said, it does mention the name Wally West in here, so in your mind, just replace it with Barry Allen and tell me this doesn't make it feel like this could be Dr. Wells.
okay.
My name is Hunter Zolomon. Despite what the public believes, I am the fastest man alive. I am Zoom, but I am not a rogue. I'm far from it. I have taken the name and colors from Eobard Thawne, the time traveler known as Professor Zoom, in order to terrorize my friend Wally West, the Flash. I suffered through tragedy. I lost my family to it. I understand the depths it will drag one down to, and only by surviving it does one become stronger. I will recreate myself to help my friend and in turn the world. I will do anything to make the Flash a better hero.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
you know, you just replace Wally West with Barry Allen, and this sounds like it's Wells, you
And
know.
things he's done, like how he stabbed he
Hmm.
killed that rich guy. I mean, he just did that just to protect Flash. He's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, so makes perfect
I'm not a
sense.
villain. I got to do some things to to further the cause, but you know, and this is what's funny too is it says. He wasn't technically faster than the Flash, though. His powers worked a little bit differently and involved manipulation of time, allowing him to basically move between seconds, appearing fast but in fact moving at normal speed, just in a way that made him nearly impossible to hit. So
Hmm,
he's not running fast, he's actually traveling through time, which is making it appear like he's traveling fast,
that's
and that's why
cool.
Barry can never catch him.
That's cool.
So I don't know. It all kind of points this way. Um, he says, I've taken the name and the colors from Eobard Thawne, who, which in our speculation is Eddie. So, I don't know, man. I'm saying Eddie and Hunter
So do you
Zolomon is
think
like,
maybe the future Eddie and present Wells are kind of working together?
I think they have to be a little bit because the tachyon thing got stolen by the other Flash, and obviously gave it to Wells because he had it at the end of the episode.
Right.
So he had to have gotten it from him, unless he somehow threw the suit on and then,
And then he had to rough him up to make it seem like they weren't really working together.
yeah.
So yeah,
So I don't know. And we got our first real good glimpse of Firestorm on the episode as well.
true. That was an awesome
Running.
exit.
Yeah, yeah. He was like flame on, and then just took off.
Flamed away.
But yeah, so I mean, great mid-season finale. A lot of questions left to be answered. Um, yeah, a lot of speculation all over the board. So
It definitely
I'm.
got me excited for the next half. I mean, even if that was the season finale, it was a
Oh hell
great
yeah!
finale. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. All three of these worked as a season finale. Let alone,
yeah,
you know,
mid-season.
let
Yeah.
alone just mid-season for just a little bit of time. So anything else you want to touch on with Flash?
No, man, that was really it. I mean, like I said, it's don't have a lot to add with Flash. It's on the bottom tier of the three, but not to take away. It's good. It's good.
So that's funny. So his bottom of the tier, my top of the tier. So
Yeah.
I'm loving it. So all right, well that is your Flash mid-season finale. We'll go on to Agents of Shield now, which was and if you're somebody that gave up on this show after the first season, I'm telling you right now, get back into it. Because this second season has been phenomenal. I mean, I agree the show definitely struggled in the beginning. In its first season, I think all the way up until the Winter Soldier came out, the show really kind of lagged and it struggled and it really had trouble finding its footing. And then Winter Soldier came out and all the Hydra stuff started, and Agents of Shield really kind of started to take its rightful place. And then this second season has just been continuing it straight. I mean, I've really liked every episode this second season. It just they've been killing it, and it really we've come a long way because it really started with Agent Coulson and with all of his little dreams and kind of weird little spells where he's carving into the wall and they're trying to figure out what all these carvings mean, and then they found out that it's a map to a city. And as soon as we found out it was a map, my mind was like, Inhumans, we're trying to find the Inhuman city now, this is awesome.
Yep.
um,
You sent me a text that night. Is this Inhumans?
yeah, I mean, it had to be because as soon as they were like, "Oh, it's a map to a city," I was like, "Oh, a mystery city on Earth? I
Mhm.
wonder what it is."
Alien? I don't know.
Because you know that there is an Inhumans movie coming. Unfortunately, years away. I mean, like 4 years away. So a lot of people were like, nah, they're not going to be leading towards Inhumans 4 years early. I mean, that's a heavy head start, But I was like, what else could this be, Because we knew all the signs were kind of there. It was like they had the blood from the Kree, put in the Coulson and then also put in the Sky, and that blood was making people go towards this city. And if you know anything about Inhumans, you know that the Kree had to do with the Inhumans and making them better. And so they figure out it's this map to the city. They're trying to find this city. Um, and it's like this underground temple. The last week's episode was kind of crazy. Like, uh, is his name Mac? Like
Yeah, the big guy.
yeah, he fell into, which I still feel that dude should be Luke Cage, man. They totally wasted that guy.
Oh,
Uh,
big time.
he would have been an awesome Luke Cage.
Big time.
So he falls into the pit and he kind of like gets, all weird and kind of brainwashed from something in the tomb. And, so in this finale episode, we have a lot going on. We're trying to blow up the entrance to this, city that's underground, like off the coast of Puerto Rico, and like, Shield is still going after Hydra, and Whitehall is his name,
Yeah.
and all this stuff's going on. Sky gets, of course, abducted, and then she meets her dad and gets to really sit down and hear him out for the first time. And he explains to her, what her mom was and what happened and how basically she was ripped apart and all this kind of stuff. And it was crazy. Um, but a lot of people didn't catch in there that he said, "My name is Cal," which related to a comic book character whose alias is Mr. Hyde, like a Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde. In the comics, he's almost like a Hulk type character. I mean, he
Yeah.
gets really big and
Huge.
he's like super strong and everything when he gets angry, which definitely makes sense with the way they've set that character up because he's always trying to stay calm and he's super sweaty all the time and he's like, and he's like, you got to be cool and calm, and you can see when he gets pissed off, he gets super strong and everything.
But I mean, they even said like when the baby went missing, talking about Sky when she went missing, like the entire village was like destroyed, and then you find out he was the one that destroyed the village, and
Yeah.
see him, he's like, what is hell's this guy? What is he doing? But
Yeah, exactly. So now we know he's this Mr. Hyde character, and a lot of people miss this. But there was a couple episodes ago where him and Coulson were face to face, and Coulson said something about like you're never gonna get Sky, and he was like, "That's not her name," like all pissed off,
yeah,
and I was like, "Ooh." So a lot of people missed it, but in the mid-season finale episode, he called her Daisy, and a lot of people missed that, but he called her Daisy, which makes complete sense once again because Daisy in the comics is Daisy Johnson, who is the daughter of Mr. Hyde, I think Cal Johnson, Calvin Johnson. And so it was like, boom, there was your connection right there, like solidifying who she was and who he was. And he talks to her in there about going down to the temple and claiming her powers and becoming the person who she's meant to be. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to destroy the obelisk and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Reyna, who's been just a pain in the ass all along, she steals the obelisk and goes down into the fucking pits. And of course there's uh, Agent Triplet. He set bombs all down there, so then he jumped back down there and he's trying to defuse all the bombs in time. Coulson goes down there after them, and of course Sky goes down there after Reyna. So Sky and Reyna get locked into the temple. Agent Triplet he slides in there in the very nick of time too. Coulson gets locked out, and the temple kind of locks in. And they put the obelisk goes into the middle on a little pedestal, and it opens up, and these like crystals start coming out, and it's basically starting to look like the Fortress of Solitude with
pretty
Superman.
much.
And I was like, oh shit, Superman coming right now.
Yeah.
and then and then this mist shoots out right in all their faces, and it was like, once again, oh shit, there's the Terrigen mist, right?
Yep.
And we're like, there's the Terrigen mist coming out, the Terrigen crystals. It's Inhumans, man. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And Reyna and Sky get like pulled into this like cocoon.
Cocoon,
Yeah,
yeah.
they get like all frozen over. At first, it looked kind of like they were turned into ash, like everybody else was. But it's like this cocoon, and then Agent Triplet turns all into like ash too, because a piece of it through went into him.
Well, yeah, he had to do that kung fu kick, and he kicked it and it exploded.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the thing went into his chest, and then he became Ash, because of course he's not a chosen one. And then it was such a cool part of the show, man. I was so geeking out at this point watching this. Like the cocoon starts to chip away, and first you see Reyna, and it starts to chip away, and her
Yeah,
eye
like I
is
didn't
very like
know who it
animal.
was.
Yeah, her eye turned all like very animalistic kind of cat like
Like cat,
colors.
yeah.
Yeah, and
She
then
had like these
but there's these little
porcupine spine.
little porcupine pieces coming out her cheeks, and then it goes to Sky, and her eyes start to kind of come through, but she looks the same, but she's looking down at Triplet, and then he basically turns into dust, and it's like sad, man. It's totally sad because he's like dead, and then she like like just burst out of the cocoon, and everything's rumbling, and it's just powerful, man. It's just powerful.
And
And
then, I mean, with her character Quake, it's like, oh, she's causing an earthquake.
right. Yeah, so once again, so Daisy Johnson, if you look her up, she was an Avenger. She helped worked with Shield and everything. Her code name was Quake because her powers is to create like seismic activity, and she can create like, basically mini earthquakes. So it's cool. She's got these powers now, and she breaks out, and the episode's pretty much over. But of course, every Shield episode kind of has that little tag at the very end too, which you see this guy who has like no face, basically just lips, and he's got another obelisk, and it's light, it's glowing, and he gets a phone call, and he's like, "We got another one." Or what did he say exactly? He said something like, "We got another one," or
Is it like
"We found
there's been an
someone."
awakening or something like that? And then he says, He's like, I'm going to. What does he say? He's like, I'm going to track it myself, or I'll find it myself.
Yeah, I thought he said something like we found another one or something like that, or there's a new one, or I don't know, something along those lines. But basically, like, this guy's got like no face or anything, so that led to more speculations. Because if you start looking it up, there is an Inhuman called the Reader, who has no face like that, and he's blind, but he can see stuff still, but he's called the Reader. There's also another guy called Vitamus, which I thought that he was Vitamus, but he's either going to be Vitamus or the Reader, as far as I know. But Vitamus is another Inhuman that basically has no face, but he has these like tentacles that kind of come out of his face, like where his eyes would be, and they kind of like latch on to other people, and he could read their minds and everything.
Huh.
So it could be him too. So those are a couple kind of speculations, but hell of an ending again. I mean, we know we've been waiting to see. I mean, me and you had joked last year in the first season that Sky was going to be like Miss Marvel, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like we knew in the very beginning of the first season we were like, she's going to become something. Like,
Something.
we
Yeah.
didn't know what or how or where, but we were like, she's going to become something. We really thought she was Miss Marvel in the beginning, getting her Kree powers, and she was going to do something
I
crazy.
just wanted it to be like there were so many. She could have been either Inhuman or Miss Marvel. I just wanted her to be Miss Marvel, but whatevs.
Yeah, but basically it's just like there's been all this tease, and it's like we knew about the Kree blood, and we knew about all this stuff, and it was just like, come on, where are we going? Where are we going? Let's do this. And to finally see in a mid-season finale that she has powers now, and we know who she is, and she's Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, and we have Mr. Hyde, and we have Inhumans, and we could have the Reader, and I don't know who the hell Raina's gonna end up being. I've been trying to figure that out, and there's like really no good ideas of who she could be. There's like one, I know a couple people thought she might be this villain called Tigra, but she didn't look really like she was. I mean, Tigra doesn't have porcupines like in her face, and
Right.
I mean, it could be another version of something. There's actually a character named Reina who does kind of have those animal kind of eyes, but she's not an Inhuman either. But I mean, they could always alter that because Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, is not an Inhuman in the comics, but Marvel's obviously changing that around. I think Inhumans is going to be a big, big deal here. I know we're 4 years away from the movie, but with Fox owning the rights basically to mutants, this is Marvel's way to explain mutant-like powers that people have by just saying they're an Inhuman. So, there's this opens that door for them to explain people's powers uh, kind of organically without having to use the word mutant. So I would not be shocked if Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are Inhumans when Age of Ultron comes out,
Ah, that's very true.
right?
That is very true.
So,
Because like not all Inhumans, I mean, a majority of the Inhumans when they're exposed to that mist, they do change like Reyna did. But as we see in Sky, there's a lot of people who don't change; they just manifest powers.
right.
So yeah, no, that's spot on.
Yeah, I mean, so it could be an easy explanation to, since we can't, they can't say he's Magneto and his kids, and they don't want to say that they're, they can't be mutants, so they're either going to have their powers from some kind of experimentation through Hydra, or they can explain the Terrigen crystals and say that they're mutants and or Inhumans, and then kind of roll from there, and which would make it even bigger. Um, I think in newer episodes or newer issues of the Inhumans comics, I think Quicksilver's involved with
Yeah,
them.
I think he's like married to like one of the one of the Inhuman mutants, and
Yeah,
then they end up having a child, which is like something completely different. But yeah, he's definitely involved with the Inhumans more so in
yeah.
the comics.
So that could be another way to kind of bring it. So once again, a lot of speculation. It makes it very, very exciting to see where we're going to go in the second half of Shield. To just see now that Sky does have powers, it'll be great to have somebody on the Shield team that actually has powers to do something when they're
Yeah.
put in these, bad situations. Um,
I mean, I felt so sorry for Shield like this entire season. I mean, the Shield went from this Men in Black organization that's like all across the world, and they have secret bases amongst secret bases, and there's this powerful force to everything that happened in Captain America. Now they're like limited to like 10 people. I mean, I think
yeah,
Coulson was saying he has like there are like 3 or 4 other charters that they have out there that are still active members that he trusts. But I mean, it's just sad. So but now, like you said, to actually have a character that will probably even the playing field if they come up against an Absorbing Man or somebody else in the future.
right.
um, and I mean, the thing with Agents of Shield that's really kept me going is Ward. I when everything went down last season and you found out he was working for Hydra, it tore me up. It bummed me out. I really grew an attachment to this character, and I'm just like, oh, they're going to kill him off. They're going to do something. I wasn't really looking forward to whatever they're going to be doing with him, but the way that they've kept him going in this season, I really liked it. How he was a prisoner, and he was doing his little, whether if they're mind games or if he was telling the truth with Sky, and everything with him and his senator brother, and I mean even how this one ends. I mean it ends with I don't know what to call it really, Robo May, that Agent
Yeah.
33. I guess with them two kind of, I mean, coming together, are they going to be like this third? Are they going to create like their little third faction? I mean, there's Hydra,
Yeah.
there's Shield, and now there's Ward and her, and I don't know. And but again, it pissed me off when Sky shot him though. I mean, again, my fiance, she hates Ward, but I'm like such a fan of his, so I just really like to see the
You
element
knew
that
she
he
wasn't
brings to
going to
this.
kill him though.
Yeah.
But I thought that was actually pretty cool that it shows how far she's come as a
Right, yeah.
character, that she just picked
Exactly.
up a gun and shot him like all cold-bloodedly. Like,
Yep, never turn
hey,
your back to the
yep,
enemy.
exactly, boom, like fuck you, asshole.
Yeah, no, I mean that was really good, and I mean it definitely bummed me out. I mean with them, I mean I thought that they were going to be killing off Mac, to be honest, and to see that I guess he still made it. It looked like he kind of once that whole thing happened with Sky and Reyna, it looked like he
Yeah,
kind of came out of it.
yeah, it did.
So he Coulson walked him away, but yeah. Uh, old dude, triplet grandson of one of the Howling Commandos. I think they've officially marked him dead and deceased. So I guess he's not going to be coming back like I want everybody else to when they die.
Exactly.
But no, man, this episode, you know, it Agents of Shield, they've really kept us on that, that whole carrot on the stick. They've been leading us on, like, it's what's going on with Coulson, and oh, it's these symbols, and oh, it's a map, and oh, we found the city, and oh, we're going to visit the city tomorrow, and and then finally see the Tyrian mist, to see what it did to Sky and Reyna. We just it was a really good payoff, and I can't remember one of these shows, and I think you said it was Agents. We actually have to wait longer than we have to with the other two, right? Like I think
Oh
Arrow and
God,
Flash are
yeah.
coming back in January, right?
Yeah, this was the problem I was going to talk about, which
Yeah.
was, yes, Flash and Arrow both are back like January 20th or whatever. We got to wait a little over a month. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not come back until March. So it'll be replaced for January and February with the Agent Carter show.
Hmm.
So they're kind of filling that hole for a 2 month, run of Agent Carter. But holy crap, man! Just to think, like we gotta wait till March to get
Hmm.
any more episodes. I don't. I think this is kind of a mistake, to be honest, on their behalf, because they're hitting a high right now. Like I said, this show has struggled a bit. There's a lot. I know a lot of people, especially in the online community, that gave up on the show halfway through the first season, and have never come back. And some people are just now getting back into it as well. So to kind of like hit this high and then be like, see you in 3 months is kind of stupid because people are going to forget. People are not going to be as stoked. You leave with a mid season cliffhanger kind of like this. You're going to be like, oh, I can't wait. I need to see what's next. I need to see what's next. Hurry up and come back. In 3 months, people are going to be like, eh, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I and I think it's going to hurt them when they come back. Like, it's not going to be as many people that are as excited or devoted as like we're talking about it right
I
now.
totally agree. Strike the iron while it's hot. I mean, I gotta know what happens next. I want to see more of Sky. I want to see what happened to Ward. I want to see what Reyna becomes, and what next. I mean, this whole entire season, they've just been leading up to this whole map and this city, and now that they've been there and they're, done that, now they're leaving. Like, what next? Like where else are they going to be going? What adventures are they going to be getting into? And I mean, our friend Geeky Pat, he's a huge, comic book fan. He loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he struggled like with the first season. Like I think he saw a couple episodes and just said, "I can't do it. It's not doing nothing. It's not doing anything for me." And it truly did. And I just watched it literally because it had the word Marvel in the front of it. But there were so many. There was just only a couple episodes that were pretty good, but the first season just dragged, and it
Yeah.
didn't take to like the last six episodes of the
Yeah,
of
for
that
for
season.
me it kind of changed with that train episode. Like that was kind of like the
True.
shift. Like
That,
that
that
train episode was super exciting, and then we had the episode with Sif from Thor when she came down. That was a great episode.
was pretty cool.
And then yeah, and then once, like I said, once Winter Soldier came out and they did the tie-in and we got the Hydra stuff, that was great because they synced it up perfectly with the movie and with everything was happening on the show that was happening in Winter Soldier at the same time, and then the show just took a great twist. And like I said, in the second season, I think it's just been great. There hasn't been any episodes this season where I was like, oh, they kind of lost me there. Like every episode I thought has been really, really good this season.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Xena though. I mean, we really thought Xena was going to be a big deal this season, and nope, womp womp. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, the whole absorbing man too. I mean, they
Hmm.
went off hardcore, with the first couple episodes with that guy, and yeah, I don't know, it's really good.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, like I said, and now having like the confirmation of Inhumans, and we have Quake, and we got all this stuff.
Yeah,
Oh man, I just I've heard a lot of rumors of like maybe they're gonna do like a West Coast Avengers type thing, like out off of this now, because now that
interesting.
they have Quake and they could build off some other heroes and put together like the West Coast Avengers, um, with what's trying to think what what's her face's code name is, like
Oh, Mockingbird.
Mockingbird or Mockingjay or whatever. Yeah. With her, and then in the comics, she's romantically involved with Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yeah.
So a lot of people keep thinking that we might get like a Jeremy Renner cameo soon,
And
and
they've been doing
you know,
they've been toying a lot with her too. I mean, what is she trying to hide?
right.
What did she do?
Well, that's what I'm
And
saying. Yeah, what's on the flash drive and all that kind of stuff, which is where a lot of the speculation of the West Coast Avengers things come in, is that she's actually kind of secretly working with Fury
Fury,
on the
got it,
side. Yeah.
got it.
So, I mean, great stuff all the way around. It was just so nice to kind of get a payoff on the Inhumans thing, because that's been a speculation I've been running on for a
Hmm.
long time now, and I've had friends of mine tell me, "Nah, I don't think that that's what they're doing. The
Oh,
movie's too far away. That's not what they're doing." And it was nice to just get some vindication on that. You
it
know.
just would have been nice to hear them say something inhuman.
Well,
Just kind
the
of
the season's not over. They don't know what they're
true,
dealing.
true,
They don't know what they're dealing with yet.
true, true.
And it'll probably take that guy with no face to explain what the hell is going on. Like we call ourselves Inhumans or whatever. Like if that
Right.
guy ever meets Sky, and he's trying to explain to her like what she's become, kind of thing. Then I can see him being like, "You come from a source of people that we dub Inhumans," or something like that. That's when I think we'll get the first call of it.
Yeah, and then Avengers, coming down the pike too. And I wonder, maybe you think maybe that might be the reason why they're waiting until March. Maybe they might have something
I
that they're
think,
going to be.
yeah, I think that could be a very big reason why, because they have to try to plan the episodes out accordingly. That kind of happened last year too. The show was like rerun, 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 rerun for like a month and a half until Winter Soldier came out, and then they were
Right.
like new episodes straight for 7 weeks, because it
Yeah.
was like they needed the timeline to match up. And I think that is a very good point, because the showrunners have admitted that there is going to be a crossover with Age of Ultron. So something will connect to Age of Ultron. I don't know if there's going to be any cameos or anything, but something
Mhm.
in the story is going to match Ultron and what's going on in that world. So,
I mean, but
um,
as we know, like with the whole Captain America, the events of Age of Ultron have to be, catastrophic.
right.
And so, I mean, it obviously is definitely going to shake the whole world of the, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show and everything else that happens after that. So,
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, but Age of Ultron's not out till May, so they need to make
yeah,
sure that the episodes are lined up
rerun,
properly.
rerun, April, rerun, rerun, May. Okay.
Yeah. So we come back in March. Um, but I know that they wanted to do the Agent Carter thing. They have a lot riding on that, and I kind of like the idea of them being like, hey, since Agents of Shield's going to be off for a couple months, we can do this 2 month run. Of this other Marvel show to kind of keep people interested. Because for all we know, they could talk more about the obelisk, and they can talk about maybe Inhumans or whatever, like even back in that time, because I
Yeah.
mean the whole origin of that obelisk came from that flashback episode with the old school shield group, and the commandos and everybody grabbing
Yeah, there's a
that
lot. I mean,
case.
we could even see like Sky's mom. I mean, I think he did. He stated that Shield was the one that uh that up to that kidnapped Sky's mom, right?
Yeah, but I think that was just
It was Shield
Hydra
Hydra,
posing. Yeah.
but still, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a I'm pretty excited about this whole Agent Carter thing. I mean, I think it might obviously be slow a little bit at first, but
Yeah.
and I think it's really cool to be able to see all the Howling Commandos from the movie, especially Dum Dum Dugan.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah.
I want to see Howard Stark.
Yeah, I know. See, I don't know, man. It's gonna be good. You'll see.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that leaves us one more, which is Arrow.
Ooh,
Arrow's, another one of those shows, man. I absolutely love this show, and was very excited to see where they were gonna do. Because, like I said, after watching The Flash and watching Agents of Shield, I was feeling like, man, Arrow's got some boots to fill
yeah.
here if they want to keep up on this mid-season finale tip.
I
You
didn't
know,
even think that they were going to even be able to top it. I was just kind of like,
nope.
I guess I'll watch Arrow. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. I didn't think that there was any way that they were going to be able to kind of keep with it. Um, and it just, another great episode where basically we're still trying to figure out who the hell Sarah's killer. We find out that the DNA match that they ran linked it to Oliver, which he was like, "What? I didn't do it,"
Yeah,
and then they're like, "Well, what if it was your sister?" And I was like, "Oh shit," and I was like, "That would make sense with the DNA match and everything." And then you do see Malcolm Merlin shows up. He shows Oliver the video that it was Thea that killed Sarah, but she was under some kind of brainwashed, like she ate this plant and it brainwashed her to be manipulated and
and
all
she
this
doesn't
stuff.
remember her actions. Yeah,
Yeah, which I don't really like, to be honest. Like, Thea's been doing this training and she's been, getting led by Malcolm Merlin, and I feel like it would have been a way cooler angle if she would have killed Sarah and just been like, that really just happened. Like, she just
yeah,
did it because Merlin needed her to, and she was like, "All right, cool."
yeah,
Because I felt like, because that we found out that it was her after the scene of her and Laurel in the graveyard, and Laurel telling her like, "My sister's dead," and Thea being like, "Oh, do you need anything? Can I help you?" And I was
yeah,
like, later on, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome," because if it is her, like, that's so creepy, and she's kind of like playing off this, like, "I want to help you, get through this," and
yeah.
when
That
it
was
was her
cold.
all along. But then they kind of milk it and take it away by being like, "Oh, she didn't know she did it, and she was under this, drug." And so I'm kind of like, "Oh, that sucks." But I kind of liked how Oliver kind of handled it, because everybody else was telling him like, it could easily be Thea. Like, you can't be brainwashed by it because it's your sister. And then he came smashing through his own apartment window, being like, "Thea Queen, you have failed the city." Like, like, "Where's Malcolm Merlin?" And then she's like, "Get away from my dad."
I'm jumping out the window.
Yeah, which that kind of pissed me off too, because I was like, "Where the fuck did she go?"
I
Like, she
know.
just straight jumped off the ledge with no hook, no rope, no nothing.
Nothing,
And
no.
he didn't even try to go after her. She's just like, "Leave me alone, stay away from my dad," and then jumps off the fucking balcony. I'm like,
He's like, she'll be
okay,
fine. She's good.
yeah, yeah, she's cool, you know. And if that didn't prove to him that she's obviously been lying all this time, then he's an
Well, I mean,
idiot.
I thought he was going to even think back to the first time that he, met back with her when they spilled that coffee on her hand, and she was just like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm chilling," and you
yeah,
see
I'm
it like
cool.
bubbling on the
Yeah.
top of her hand. I'm like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, yeah. So then it was cool because right after that, then Merlin shows back up and he's like, "So I heard the arrow attacked my daughter tonight," and then he shows Oliver the video and basically tells him, "You're gonna go to Ra's al Ghul and you're gonna tell him that you killed Sarah." And he's like, "Why would I do that?" And he's like, "Because you're gonna protect Thea, so tell him that you did it." And he's like, "Okay, fine." And then he goes and he tells Roz, which I thought was so stupid too, that he killed Sarah. Because even Talia was like, "Bullshit. Like, you loved her. Like, why
Yeah,
the hell would you kill her?" And he's like, "'Cause she wanted me to." I'm
yeah,
like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude. You did not kill your fucking love of your life." Like,
yeah,
like, it felt so stupid to me, and the fact that the League of Assassins actually believed it was a little fucking silly.
yeah.
Because I think Oliver should have just stuck with his original plan, which was show Ra's al Ghul the video and then be like, "But I spoke to Malcolm Merlin and he drugged her, and basically made her do this." Because they all hate Malcolm Merlin. They want him dead. So why would they not believe Oliver that that's what actually happened?
I know, and then, like Merlin did that in his club, so you wouldn't think he would like have a video or something like that, or just I
Yeah,
don't know.
it was really really silly. So like I hated that, and then he challenged. So Arrow challenges Ra's al Ghul to a duel because they have this like death duel that they can do, and if he beats Ra's, then basically then like the blood debt is settled, And but if Roz wins, then obviously Oliver's dead. So, how do we want to handle this? And so that was kind of interesting that they kind of led to that. Um, I feel like there was a very subtle hint at the Lazarus pit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch it? Because I don't know.
No.
I felt that if you caught when Roz was talking to Oliver, he said when Oliver
Oh, the
challenged
60
him,
something
yeah,
years.
he says
Yeah.
I haven't been challenged in 67 years, which I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this guy ain't fucking like 80 years old.
You look pretty good for your age. You look
Exactly. So
Angela Bassett.
I was like, oh, Lazarus Pit. So, so yeah, there was a little subtle hint there that the pit is alive and well, and
And then for those of you that don't know, I mean, the Lazarus Pit, it's pretty much I guess you can kind of consider it like a fountain of youth.
yeah,
You submerge yourself within it, and any wounds that you have are healed, and you are like rejuvenated back to like a younger age type of thing. And Ra's al Ghul uses that to basically maintain his youth. So he's like hundreds of thousands of years old, and he just continuously goes into the Lazarus pit to rejuvenate his youth until somebody can challenge him and dethrone him, which hasn't happened.
hmm and did not happen on this episode as we got Oliver
I
climbing the
thought he
mountain.
was going to be able to at least stick with him, but then
I didn't.
someone brought to my attention it's like he barely beat Malcolm Merlin, and Ra's al Ghul trained Malcolm Merlin. I'm like,
Right.
okay, I get that, and
Yeah, which then also leads to the fact that Malcolm obviously set him up to be like, just challenge Ra's al Ghul, and you could beat him and settle the blood debt, and it's like Malcolm knew all well that Oliver could not beat Ra's al Ghul,
I think
so
Oliver did too. I mean, with the way he kind of tied up all his little,
I don't think
with it.
Oliver did. Oliver, I think, thought I can go and I can beat his ass because here's the thing that I thought was funny because I think Oliver is a cocky prick. As much as I love this show, he's a cocky prick,
Of
and
course.
and I think his cocky prickness was like, shit, I'm just gonna climb this mountain and I'm gonna beat his ass, and then everything's gonna be settled. And it was nice to see his little cocky prick ass get humbled, and fucking so like
Well, like, I mean, humble with a knife in your chest. I mean, you could have been humble with the back of a hand or something.
so
No.
so he gets up to the mountain and Roz is like pick any weapon you want and he picks these two swords and they basically start the fight and Ra's al Ghul doesn't even have a weapon. He doesn't even have a weapon and not only does he not have
I
a
love what he
weapon,
says.
not only does he not have a weapon, he fights Oliver with his hands
Hand
behind his
behind his
back.
back. Yes.
So Oliver's going all out, like swinging these swords and everything, and Roz is just like, miss, miss, miss me,
And he's
miss
like,
me.
"Aren't you going to get a weapon?" He's like, "No, I'll take your sword when you're done with it."
Exactly. I'll take yours when you don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh shit, and then he did take the sword and they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I didn't think Oliver really got anything good on him.
No.
And then, but it was funny because Roz was like, "You should be proud. You made it farther than other people have." And I was like, "You didn't even do nothing." And then like they're like fighting, 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 and then Oliver started to come back when they got close to the edge of the mountain, and I was like, "Oh man, they're gonna let Oliver come back and like whoop some ass now." But he only got like one quick little like kind of punch in,
Yeah.
and then Ra's al Ghul basically
Like,
like
fuck this.
he like throat jacked him, like he just like punched him in the throat, and then Oliver's like, "Oh, I can't breathe," and then fucking like, and then he just stabs his ass in the fucking chest, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like the sword literally in one side, out the other side, and I was
Oh,
like, "Did they
well,
really
he's
just
like
do that?"
slices him on the side first, doesn't he? Like on his I think he like cuts him on the side. I think like right below his ribs, and then he like stabs him in the chest. I don't know. He just
Uh,
fucked him up. That's all I
yeah,
know.
dude. When that sword went all the way through his chest, I was just like, "Holy shit! They just did that." And then he reads him like that death poem, and then he kicks Oliver off the mountain for good measure. On top of that, and the view that they show of that looked like he fell like 100 feet. It was just like this body was just like,
Free falling.
just yeah, he just goes flying off the mountain. So it's like, holy shit! Like that's the end of this season, and it, it's just like that was a hell of an ending. Once again, it's just like, dude, Roz is just bitch slapped fucking Oliver around like he's nothing. And now Oliver is basically He's basically dead. So now it's like, how does he come back at this point? Is it the Lazarus pit? Like, I wonder, like, is Talia gonna grab him and throw him in the pit? Um,
Or that other guy, the
yeah, it could be
the
the
Asian
Chinese
dude.
guy, yeah, which was the guy in his flashbacks that, and end up finding out is part of the League of Assassins.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot going on here, and it's just like, who's gonna do what? Is it Malcolm Merlin that finds him in the snow and takes him to the pit? Like there's so many different ways. But I truly feel like when we come back, we're gonna probably go a couple episodes with no Oliver.
I
I
agree.
don't think we're gonna see him. I think they're gonna think because he didn't return that he's dead, and basically Diggle and all of them are going to have to start.
Roy.
Roy and what's Felicity, like they're all going to have to try to start moving on, thinking that he's dead, and Roy's going to step up his arsenal, and who knows,
Well,
maybe Diggle will pop on an arrow outfit and try to take his place for a little bit.
well, see the thing with that, I mean, and then also you have, Laurel coming up, and we've already seen a little tease of Laurel in the, Black Canary outfit.
Right.
So, I mean, this could be a good thing, without any Oliver, this could be a chance for, like you said, everybody else to kind of, take up arms and kind of,
Yeah.
take control of the city while, they figure out whatever's going to happen with Oliver.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody is going to have to step up. I mean, this could be the chance for Brandon Routh's character to become Adam
Him
as
too,
well,
exactly.
because, he even said to Felicity in this episode, like, I want to help the city, and can you help me with that? And she was like, why is it always me?
Yeah, I know.
So, like, he obviously wants to become a hero. So, I mean, this could be a chance with no arrow. Is this a chance for Adam to come step into play? So I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of possibilities here, but I definitely think for a couple episodes we're not going to have any Arrow. Like we're not going to have no Stephen Amell on the show. Maybe some glimpses of his
Flashbacks
body just on
probably.
the mountain, you know,
Might have
and
some like flashbacks
yeah.
though,
Or
yeah.
maybe he will be brought back to life, but he's going to be so weak still that he can't come back to the city.
True.
So there's that kind of play out of it. But man, it's going to be crazy because it's funny the amount of people on these like message boards and stuff that I read that are like, he's dead. Like, what are we gonna do for the rest of the show and stuff like that? It's like, come on, the show is called Arrow. The
Arrow,
Green
like
Arrow
come
is not
on.
fucking dead.
Yeah.
Who knows? It might be some kind of meta-human type powers that have to bring him back too. What if Flash goes and gets him? Like, who knows what they end up like
They
doing
go
here?
they
You
bring
know.
back Arrow from the future or something like that to come
Yeah,
back.
yeah. There's so many possibilities, but it's cool. But it definitely happened. I mean, I've seen a lot of people speculate too, like, oh, that was just a dream or whatever. Like, they're not gonna dream this shit. Like, that happened, and it was ballsy for them to do that. And now it'll be interesting to see how they kind of come out of it.
Funny
But
thing, Stephen Amell, he tweeted actually like it's been a good run, or something like that. Like thanks for the support. It's been a good run. It's like,
that's
come on, man.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you gotta keep the story alive.
Exactly. And I don't know, man. Like I've been wanting, like, I've like Diggle ever since the first season, and I really hope. I mean, give him some kind of mask, even if it's a hockey mask. I don't care, but I
It's
want to
fun.
see him take up some kind of character.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because I saw an interview with Stephen Amell and that question came up like why everybody has an outfit or a mask or a costume, why doesn't Diggle? And Stephen Amell said that that's something that he's been talking to the producers about since day one, and for some reason they don't want to put Diggle in a suit, and he was like, but why not? Like he needs like a mask or something, and it's
Yeah,
so true because it's like when that team comes pulling up to a crime scene and you have Arrow and you have
arson.
Arsenal and then
Yeah,
you just have Diggle in his leather jacket like pop
and a
up,
gun, holding a gun.
it's like dude, like you can't just have this guy pop up with no protection.
For
like
real.
like he does need something, and that's why I think maybe in these next couple episodes this might be the time to kind of like move that forward or have him put on the Arrow outfit, and then maybe when Oliver gets back he's like, oh, I kind of dug that, and then he kind of does his own thing.
Mhm.
um
I don't know. I think you might find like a green ring or something like that, and
oh
you might find out that his
jeez.
last name is really
Stewart.
Stewart. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, I just changed it because I was a part of a I don't know, whatever that called where they change your last name. But like one thing I did want to bring up about that last fight between Roz and Oliver. Like I kind of have this movie, this cinematic rule that I could try to follow, and it's whenever whoever has the upper hand in the beginning tends to be the one who loses in the end, because you see the one character getting their ass pummeled, and then the whoever's pummeling them says something is like, that's not true, and then they do a whole Luke Skywalker where they completely turn it around, and then they end up beating the other guy's ass. And I was thinking that with this whole Ra's al Ghul fight. I'm like, all right, he's getting his ass kicked. Watch, any minute now he's going to turn it around, and like you said, as soon as like he kind of he was at the edge of the mountain and he kind of punched Roz. Was like, all right, here it comes, and nope, he gets the knife in the chest or the sword in the chest, and I'm like, no. And it was funny, like my daughter, she's 7 and she's never watched this show, and this episode was the one episode she wanted to sit and watch it with me, and she's asking me questions throughout the whole episode, and I'm trying to answer them, and when that last fight happens, she cries. And I'm like, what is wrong? She's like, he just killed the dude. I'm like, oh man, why does this have to be the one episode that I watch with her that he has to die and then messes up the whole world? So
That's awesome.
so now I just scarred my daughter, so I feel bad. But oh well, she'll be good. But man, and then, dude, but Don, like, what do you think about the whole, him confessing, him saying that I love you to Felicity? Like, do you think this is, I mean, with him being dead, obviously this is going to F her up. When he comes back, do you think it's going to you think there might be something between them two, or might switch back to Laurel, or?
I think it needs to be Felicity. They've been teasing that for a long, long, long
Long time.
time, and
Yeah.
I think that there is more that they're gonna do with that, or obviously he never would have said, I love you on his way out the door. Um, it's one of those things where we knew now, like, even go look at the crossover episode, where Oliver's telling Barry, like, we can't be with the women we love
Yeah.
because we have to protect them,
Yeah.
and he's talking about Felicity and Barry, Iris for Barry. They were looking at those two girls,
Hmm.
and that was their thing. So there's no doubt that Oliver is truly in love with her at this point, but because it obviously eats him up too every time he sees her with,
Other dude.
Superman,
Yeah.
so and you can't blame him. So it's one of those things, but I think we'll get more on that.
Yeah, I hope so. And then, I hope we see more of the Ray Palmer. I think that's his name, the
Yeah,
Mr. Adam. And that was an awesome little explanation, with his suit and
yeah.
shrinking and all that. So, oh man, it's again, this is there's so many ways that they can go. And Arrow was my top favorite last season, or I'm sorry, it's been my top favorite, like I guess ever since it first aired, up until that that crossover with Agents of Shield and the Hydra, and then it just completely flipped, and I started liking Agents of Shield more than Arrow. But like this episode, I mean, there's just and like you said, my friend was had an inside source, and they brought up that we might be seeing some more of the Suicide Squad in the future. So whether or not if that's true, I don't know, but as on my last episode of the People's Forum, I really enjoy the Suicide Squad that they've established on the TV show. I'm not super excited about the movie, but I am
Whack.
excited to see more TV show Suicide Squad. So bring it on.
I think we definitely will get another Suicide Squad centric episode later in the season. No doubt about that. I think I think they're gonna want to do that more now that they've announced the movie too, because it only raises you know, it raises people's expectations now, and puts more insight into what the Suicide Squad is for the people that don't know. Now that there has been a movie announced, such a profile movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh man, so many good things.
Yeah, so an amazing arrow, definitely a hell of an episode that leaves us with basically our main hero dead on the side of a mountain. So I don't know what else you could ask for. So I don't know, anything else you want to touch on with Arrow?
No, man, but it's like, what kind of show ends that way?
Exactly.
I don't know. The first season was epic when you actually see that the bad guy won. He essentially, he had his little doomsday device, and you thought he stopped it, but actually no, they didn't stop it, and it goes off anyways. And that's how the episode ends, with them watching the entire city go up in flames. I thought that was a good ending, but this,
Yeah.
no way, like wow.
I mean,
And it's
yeah.
going to, and as you say, Arrow's been such a grounded show, and this, it might be the dawn of this show actually coming out of that. I mean, they've had the Mirakuru, which is really just a serum that they're taking to make them, enhance strength. But with the introduction of the metahumans, and now, we're hearing a little bit more about the Lazarus pit. We might be seeing Arrow kind of come out of that whole grounded world that we're used to.
I think I think they're going to still try to keep it grounded as much as they can, but I think that yeah, they have to open those doors here and there when they need to.
Right.
I mean, being that it is in the same universe as the Fastest Man Alive and all these other villains and stuff that are going on in Central City, they can't just ignore that. Like they know it's out there, so
Right.
there's gonna be elements of it for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, a hell of a mid-season finale. I mean, it's crazy. This whole mid-season finale thing is something I'm still trying to wrap my head around because it's something newer that I feel like has only started within the last couple years. It started kind of with shows like Breaking Bad and Walking
Walking
Dead,
Dead.
stuff like that. Mad Men, where like these shows on like these cable channels that like do a couple episodes and they stop for a couple months and they come back and it, major network shows never did that before. Like it was just. I mean, they always took a little break around Christmas time, but then you just came right back, and
Yeah.
it's like now all of a sudden, like every show I watch is like mid-season finale. We'll be back in a month, and I'm like, what? Like, why is that? Where did this become so popular?
Yeah, I hear even like NCIS does that now.
Dude, like everything, man. Sleepy
Uh,
Hollow did it, and like like I mean, I don't think like these like little half-hour like comedy sitcoms do it, but these hour-long drama shows and stuff are all doing it, and it's kind of crazy. So I'm still wrapping my head around it, but I want to say just once again, just I'm bowing down to the people behind Flash, Arrow, and Agents of Shield for really grasping what is kind of a little gimmicky type thing to be like mid-season finale. Like it's really stupid to be honest to be like you're only taking a break for a month and you're going to make this big deal about it. They could get away with something really simple. And instead all three shows really went out and gave us something to talk about. And it really makes it super super exciting. I'm glad that Arrow and Flash are going to be back in about a month. I'm really pissed that Shield is going to be till March, but I can't wait for when they finally do. Um, it's cool, man. It's really really cool because for us fans of like Shield, for example, when Inhumans does come out, and let's say Daisy slash Quake is in the Inhumans movie, right? Like we're gonna understand like all of that because we've watched the
yes.
TV show, whereas people that didn't watch Shield aren't gonna have the background on that character. Like we just got to see her whole origin story,
Yeah, or even
basically.
if Reina doesn't pop up until then or
Yeah.
something, which would be weird,
I
but
mean, it's really cool because we could see these characters literally pop up into movies now, or who knows? What if Sky is, in Avengers: The Affinity War? Like I mean, like we could be seeing bigger things for these characters, and if you didn't watch the show, you'd be missing out on a lot of this stuff and knowing where the connections come from. So, once again, if you I highly recommend all three of these shows. For anybody that's listening that maybe watches Arrow and Flash but doesn't watch Shield, give Shield a chance. If you're a Marvel fan, I think you're really going to appreciate this second season. And vice versa. I know there's still a lot of people that watch Arrow but don't watch Flash, or watch Flash and don't watch Arrow. These shows are connected. They have a lot to do with each other, and you'll have a better benefit if you watch both shows. There's really no reason to watch one and not the other. If you like one, you should definitely like the other. So,
and especially with them coming, the whole Supergirl, you're
yeah,
really going to want to have to, be connected with all three of the different worlds that are going to be
yeah.
going on simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't know 100% if it'll be interconnected, but I know that that's what the showrunners want to do.
So,
So, you know, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is our wrap up. Thanks for listening to this special Am I Still on the Air? Agents of Flarrow. It's been awesome talking about this. These are three massively big episodes with a lot of great stuff going on. If you have on demand and you missed any of these, go back and watch them. Check them. They're all available to stream right now on Hulu and on demand services through your cable or satellite providers to check out Flash, Arrow, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Great stuff all the way around. I want to thank my guest, Mr. Peeps from the People's Forum. You can check out the People's Forum on reddragonsradio.com. His show is very topic driven, just kind of like this show, where they take a topic and kind of dive into it. The last well, he just put up a new episode talking what, like American Horror Story and the Flash and Arrow crossover.
yeah, and we start with the Suicide Squad as well,
And
the
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
talking Suicide Squad. The episode before that, I was actually on it, and we talked about prequels. There was another episode talking about reboots. We just did an episode talking about Transformers. So a lot of great discussion episodes that you can get over on the People's Forum. So where can we find you on the interwebs?
On the interwebs, I'm actually on the Twitter webs, thanks to Mr. DONMEGA. You can follow me for my peoples. That's number 4MYPEEPLES. And yeah, I mean, I'll be letting you know about all Dawn's awesome episodes that come out. My boy Geeky Pat, whenever I drop new episodes, I throw it out there. And whenever I try to get things going, like Miles Morales as Spider-Man, we got to get that Twitter, we got to get that hashtag going. So yes.
Yeah, good luck with it.
You'll
Hashtag not
see.
happening.
You'll see. You'll see. You'll see.
Hashtag Peter Parker.
Nah, whatevs. Everybody says that, but you'll see. Same thing. I'm never wrong with this stuff. Just like when I said Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be good, and Ronan's alive. You'll see. You'll see.
All right. Well, yeah, that's Peeps right there. Once again, you can follow him on Twitter at ForMyPeoples and check out the People's Forum over on RedDragonsRadio.com. And for me, you can follow me on Twitter at DXDonMega. You can follow the show at Am I On The Air? And this is Am I Still On The Air? You can find these episodes on AmIOnTheAir.com and, of course, RedDragonsRadio.com. Listen to Am I On The Air? Every week, where we break down the week in entertainment news, TV, movies, everything. We'll have a new episode coming tomorrow for Am I on the Air? We'll also have a review of Exodus, Gods and Kings, and also the breakdown of everything else in the entertainment world. So thanks everybody for listening. This has been Am I Still on the Air? And we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Deuces.
I'm drinking.